Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video I'm going to do something very exciting. It's a little bit different than my normal videos. So this video is going to be an introduction to the Atelier series. You guys may have heard of me talk about that a lot on this channel, and now you're going to know the games and why I love it. With this comfortable atmosphere, the Atelier series is a breath of fresh air compared to the many RPGs out there. With a series spawning now 25 games and Ryza 3 on the way, plus the remake of Atelier Marie, we are seeing a lot of Atelier games, and I love it. Now, 25 games might seem daunting for someone going into the series, but that is why I'm here and the purpose of this video. I want to explain to you guys why I love the series so much, and I mention it a lot on my channel, so I wanted to do a dedicated video for it. So without further ado, let's prep our cauldrons and yell barrel as we explore the world of Atelier. First, we're going to tackle the story of these games. The overarching plot for each game basically goes like this. You play as an amateur alchemist who wants to take their skills to the next level. Usually their reason is to benefit themselves or to benefit others. In one game, you must help a character study for the alchemy exam throughout the course of a year, Atelier Series, and in other games you will be helping someone create a body to help their new friend, which is what motivates Sophie in her game. So while the plots may be different in each game, they all tie back to a common theme, which is, if you guess correctly, it's alchemy. Now, the common question I hear from many different people whenever I bring up Atelier is if the stories are connected, and where should you start? To answer the first question, in short, no, they are not connected. The long answer is each game is its own self-contained story. While the games and myself do push people to start wherever they like, I do want to say this: each of the games are clustered into a trilogy or quadrilogy or whatever you have it, where their universe, characters, and even plot elements kind of overarch. For example, the Mysterious Trilogy, you have Sophie, Sophie 2, Furious, and Lady and Sewell. So it's a quadrilogy, my bad. In the first game in the trilogy, Sophie 1, you get to know all these characters, and in the last game of the trilogy, Lady and Sewell, it acts as the final conclusion of these character arcs that you've been following from Sophie, and it ties a nice bow on the Mysterious Trilogy. Oh, quadrilogy, you know what, whatever. So while I do say you can start wherever you want, I do want to emphasize, please start at the first part of each trilogy or quadrilogy, whatever you want to call it, because that's where you get the most impact of the story, and it's just very satisfying. Now I'm going to name the arcs from modern Atelier games. There are older Atelier games that trace back to the PlayStation 2, but those are really old and really hard to find. So unless Koei Tecmo wants to remake all of them like Atelier Marie, then I'm not going to mention it in this video, but I am very excited for Atelier Marie. Alright, so the modern arcs are the Arlen Quadrilogy, which contains Atelier Verona, Totori, Memoru, and Lalua. Then there's the Dust Trilogy, which has Atelier Aisha, Eska and Logi, and Shali. Following that up is the Mysterious Trilogy, which contains Atelier Sophie 1 and 2, Furious, and Lady and Sewell. And last but not least is the Ryza Trilogy, or the Secret Trilogy, and that one contains Atelier Ryza 1, 2, and soon to be 3. And they're very easily accessible, with the Switch having most of the modern Atelier games on the eShop. So another frequently asked question that I get a lot is which games in the Atelier series have a time mechanic and which don't have a time mechanic. So the ones that don't have the time mechanic is the Mysterious Trilogy minus Furious. Furious does have a time mechanic. All the games in the Ryza trilogy do not have a time mechanic. I like that the new Atelier games dumps the time mechanic because these games are supposed to be chill and calming and cozy. So pick and choose from any of these games. Though if you want to know my opinion on which Atelier game you should play first, it would be a tie between Ryza 1 and Sophie 1. Now I chose Ryza because it was my first Atelier game and it got me into this beautiful franchise, and I know that this was a bunch of people's first entry into the franchise because of some design choices. It's a pretty great start to your Atelier adventure. Though I also picked Sophie 1 because it is a more laid back version of Ryza, and it's a little bit aged. It's from the PlayStation 3, I believe. So don't go into Sophie 1 expecting, you know, these awesome graphics or anything like that. But it's a very relaxed story. Plus the alchemy takes a more puzzle approach by filling ingredients into a board, and it's my favorite kind of synthesis. While Ryza's is good, it's very simplified, while Sophie is very active, like you feel like you're doing something. So if you want more of that, I highly recommend Sophie 1. You can't go wrong with choosing either Ryza 1 or Sophie 1. They're both great introductions to the story and gameplay loop of the series. Not to mention, it's a great vibe check for those who are still hesitant about the series. So what's a story without great characters? Many RPGs tend to put their focus on story and crafting the world as a way to flesh out the narrative. Atelier, on the other hand, decides to say, you know what? Screw that, I'm gonna do my own thing. The games tend to focus on the characters and the many interactions and little stories in between. But of course, when we talk about characters, it starts with the protagonist. Most of the games start with a young, enthusiastic alchemist in the making, trying to get their goal by different means. Each of them have their own personalities, which can be infectious in a good way. Depending on which game you choose, you're always guaranteed a protagonist that's very uplifting and motivated, trying to get their own. Not saying that every protagonist is the same, but I love how in Atelier their protagonists are just cuties basically, and you want to see them succeed and you will see them succeed. But each protagonist have their own quirks and little things to them. Like Furious loves meat and eating all the time. Sophie is a klutz and very messy, but she's there when you need her the most. And I love the dynamic between Sophie and Plakta because they're kind of foils or opposites of each other, and just seeing their friendship bloom is very heartwarming. Or Lady and Suelle, which they're actually two characters and they're twins. I love seeing the banter between sisters because I have an older sister and we banter a lot.
もう匂いが取れない。
And since the game takes a more relaxed approach, it is no surprise why a lot of people consider it a slice of life RPG. So while the story isn't deep, they are still enjoyable because the characters are unique in their own way. Now, I've been using the word cozy and chill throughout this video so far, but let's talk about what makes these games chill and cozy with the music and aesthetic. Now, this might sound a little shallow, but another reason why I looked into these games are because the character designs look really cute and pretty. Yeah, don't judge me on that. While not graphically intensive, these games do have a unique art style to them depending on what sub-series you're in. Like in the Arlen trilogy, you have a lot of pinks and pastels, very girly, frilly designs. And while still very cute, the Dust trilogy presents a more toned down, mature design for the characters. And with the Mysterious trilogy, we have a lot of popping colors, very whimsical, which emphasizes the whole mysterious journey motif going on. And with Ryza, we have a more practical design that helped Koei Tecmo in more ways than one with this series. Thick dyes saves this franchise, a lot of people say, and for good reason. But to give it credit, it's not just because their thighs are thick. The outfits are very cute, and it really emphasizes the adventures that Ryza will go through. And it's not only the characters, there's a lot of design choices in the UI which make it very cute, and it matches the game that it's in. It gets really creative for different games. For example, in Lady and Suelle, the menu is presented with crayons and drawings. It really emphasizes the artistic motif in the game. Also, there's this cool effect that when it rains and you open the menu, you can see the rain on the menu. And I know a lot of games nowadays do that, but back in 2017, for a niche game, that's a pretty cool effect. Alright, so I'm done rambling about how cute these games are. Let's move on to the music. I love the music. It is very underrated. Now, I'm not really good at articulating how music sounds or feels. I'm not good at going into, the different notes or motifs or anything like that. I've only played the violin in high school. But basically, the music is really good, and like the character designs with each sub-series, it changes to fit the themes and the mood of that sub-series. So the Dust trilogy has a very mature, jazzy feel to it, while the Mysterious trilogy has a more upbeat, we're going on a journey kind of vibe to it, and so on and so forth with the other games. So while I'm not doing the music here justice on my video because I really can't articulate it well, it's some really good music, and it's really underrated in the RPG scene. Alright, so we talked about the story, characters, music, and how it makes me feel, but what about the gameplay and the alchemy? Now this is where we get to the exciting part of the game. Now a big portion of these games and what drew me to the series was the alchemy system. I love it, it's so unique, and I can say any JRPG out there has a alchemy mechanic like the Atelier series. Now if the Atelier series didn't have the alchemy, I don't think I would have loved it as much. I don't even think it would make it that far in the landscape of JRPGs, but since it has something unique with the alchemy and it's very good at it, I feel like Gus created something wonderful. And the cool thing about the alchemy in Atelier is that it always changes. While the base mechanics of the alchemy and traits and stuff like that stay the same, the way each character synthesizes their own material is different game by game. And I love this because it shows that every alchemist does it a different way, and it doesn't stay boring for too long. And if you don't like an alchemy system in one game, you'll probably like it better in another game. For example, I love the alchemy in Sophie games than in Ryza games. And while they're both fun, they're totally different takes on how to make items. Now, I'm not gonna go into much detail about the alchemy system in each game. That's gonna make this video really long. And plus, I want to make it its own dedicated section when I review each Atelier game in the future. So look out for that. But needless to say, the alchemy is very satisfying. It might look like a lot at first, especially for newcomers. I know when I first played Atelier, I was like, what the heck is going on? And it made me do something which I never do, and that is reading a tutorial. If you've been on this channel for a while, you know that I don't like tutorials. That's kind of my MO. And I know when I played Ryza 1, it took me like till half of the game to really get the gist of the alchemy. So just take it one step at a time and be ready for a lot of trial and error. Like the alchemist in the game, you're both growing at the same time. And another aspect of the alchemy mechanic is gathering. You're going to have to go to other worlds or lands to gather more material so you can make more stuff. Now for gathering, you're going to want to use tools like a hammer, a scythe, or whatever is needed to get the material. And as you go on and you can make better items, you could gather better quality material. Now sadly enough, the combat in Atelier games is kind of lacking, especially the earlier ones. It's hit the enemy, kill them, gather the material, moving on. But in recent Atelier games like Sophie 2 and the whole Ryza trilogy, we've been seeing the combat get really good and engaging. So I'm really glad that Gus is really refining the combat to make it more enjoyable. And a lot of flashy attacks. I love flashy attacks. In conclusion, I hope I expressed my love for this franchise to you guys in this video. And please hit that like button and share it around to anyone who might be interested. While you might not see my face a lot in this video, it still was a hard work to make it. I had to script it, research, and all that jazz, and gathering all the gameplay footage to put in the video. It's definitely not my usual type of video, but I hope you guys still enjoyed it. So that's it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I love this series so much. And if you're interested in the Atelier series, tell me in the comments down below. Are you gonna give it a chance? Or if you have more questions, please let me know in the comments down below. I love hearing from you guys. So hit that like and subscribe if you want more content like this. You can find me on my socials in the description. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and as always, play a good game. Peace.